All right, let's start using datetime in Pandas, and let's use the group by all together now. So we're going to read in our large taxi cab data file from 2018, I think it is. I think it's just 1 month of 2018. So we read it in, we change the index to the pickup date, and then we look at the number of unique days in the pickup date, and then we print that out. And sure enough, what we get is we get a whole bunch of data. We get 44,333, which seems a bit odd, but all that is some doubling due to date time is not just date, but it's date time. So that's the cows being picked up at exactly the same time, which is the only thing we've lost there. So if we look at time 2, we now set our date time. When we read the CSV file, we need to tell the CSV.read method which columns are in datetime format, so it actually reads them as datetime. And then we show the count of all the records in the database, in the data frame. Then we reset the index again to the pickup time. Then we make a date time start date and a date time stop date. And then we use the loc function that we've used before, and we use the start date is greater, the value in the index for the pickup time is greater than the start date, and the value in the pickup time is less than the end date. And we have this as from the 1st to the 7th. So we have 1 week of data being gathered, and then we print out the record counts for that. And when we run that, you can see eventually what we get. It's reading the file, and it will pop up at any moment. Hopping down the bunny trail. There we go. So there are almost 800,000 records in the CSV file, and in that 1 week period, there's 156,000, which sort of works out to be right for a month. But that's not really what we want. We still want to get down to those days in a week. So let's look at time 3. Same thing, we set the date column, we read the file, we set the index to the pickup date, we set our start and stop date, same thing, the 1st through the 7th. And then we make a new data frame, same thing using the lock function. Now we're going to use our group by, and we do a group by, and we do a count of the group by, and you will see that the numbers look funky. And what we really need to do is we're going to get this function. Our group by is using the entire date time column, so it's date and time. So again, we're getting counts not on the day, but counts on the date and time. So the numbers are not by day, but by date and time. And as you can see, the numbers are really small because it's not the first, it's the first at 1 o'clock, it's the first at 2 o'clock, it's the first at 3 o'clock. So our 0 at 1 minute. So it's really kind of crazy trying to do that. So what we really need to do is use resample. So group by is useful, but not useful all the time. If we use resample and we resample by day, because resample works with date time data, and we resample by day, now we get what we're looking for. Now we get our data that looks, our chunk of 160 or 170,000 is now broken up by day. And this is really what we want. So now we're getting somewhere. And if we look at time 4, we again do the same thing. set the date time columns that we want to set into date time format in the CSV file. We read them in, we set the index to the date time, and I run this just to show you that we end up with the correct date time format. We set the start and the stop dates. Then we don't, actually I don't think we need the data range. And then we'd use the lock function, again, start and stop like we did in time 3. Now, this will convert, the lock function will return the information, but it changes the data type from date time back into, I think it's int64. So we need to change the date time back, the columns back from the int64 back into date time. So once we do that, then we need to do our resample with our D, and we do our count on that. And now what we get is, you can see the date time printed for those two functions in the read. And now we get this. This is what we've been after all along. We get the count of taxi rides for in 2018, January 1st. That is something that we've been trying to get to from that huge data set the whole time. And so you have to use the group by and your selections to get down to that individual week here. So then we could do some counts, and we could do some graphing, and we could do a whole bunch of cool stuff on this. And so that's how you can start doing some selections, some complex selections used on the dates and date time functions in Pandas.